Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Sarah Murph, 2023 Chair of the Robbins Regional Chamber Board of Directors.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm still not used to walk-up music, especially at 8 a.m. It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning to today's Eggs and Issues breakfast, kicking off a full day of workforce activities in our Robbins Works Job Fair will be right down the hall this afternoon. As we all know, attracting and retaining top talent is crucial for the growth and success of any organization, and it's as hard as ever right now, right? We are excited to hear from our esteemed panel today about the innovative programs and valuable resources available right here in our community. We are so grateful for the opportunity to present this Eggs and Issues series year after year, providing an opportunity for us to regularly convene you, the leaders and influencers in our community who make things happen. This series is made possible by each of you continuing to find the value in the connections and the content. We know that you could be anywhere right now, and we're thankful that you have elected to spend your time here this morning to hear this important discussion. I'd also like to thank our sponsors for their ongoing support of this event, our series host, House and Healthcare, who we heard from in the video, and our longtime presenting series sponsor, Synovus. At this time, I'd like to ask Ron Weigel to come forward to lead the invocation and pledge and share a few words.
Yes, I have jokes ready. A whole list of them. Just kidding.
Don't forget to pray.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm going to do that first. If y'all will stand with me, we'll pray and do the pledge. Lord, thank you for this day, and we just come to you humbly. We know you're the creator of all things, and we're so grateful for all that you do. We're very, very blessed that you've given us this community of people, this community in general, and blessed us with abundance in relationships and other things. We have many blessings, and we want to lift up, I would say, ask for a special blessing to those who serve, rather than ask to be served. And the ones that come to mind are, our military that serve abroad and here, and the ones that are first responders, and our people that work in hospitals and schools that just are thinking about others before they're thinking about themselves. We just ask that you bless them. And we lift up, we're blessed with abundance, but there's still need in our community, and we ask that you tune us into that, whether or not it's emotional, financial, whatever the need may be, that you tune us into that we're sensitive, and that we're your hands and feet. But most of all, we're grateful for your grace as we look forward to this Resurrection Sunday that's coming up. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the jokes, right? Steve, you can sit down. Steve and I have a long-standing thing going on. So it's become a routine to tell a few jokes. Today I'm gonna tell one bad joke. Because I do want to talk a little bit more in depth about something, and I won't take but a few minutes because I know you're here to hear from Dr. Blake, from Angie, from Bob, and I saw Andrea out here too. So, all right, y'all ready? Yeah. How many optometrists does it take to screw in a light bulb? Is it 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Okay. I was like, hey, if that didn't go over, half of you are awake. Okay. All right. Look, on a serious note, I thought I'd take this time, to maybe talk in general. I know there's been a lot of unsettling news about banking, and more specifically, about the failure of a couple banks. And so I just wanted to take a minute and talk at a very high level about the industry, maybe to give you some points. And I know some of this is going to be covered later in our economic series, which is coming up in May. So what I'd say is, you know, so I'm talking about this specifically as it relates to the failure of two banks. There was SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank. And so everything that we are reading and hearing, both internally and externally, indicates that there's not a systemic or widespread contagion in that in our industry. Now, with that being said, you know, if we're going to just be real about it, the expectation is that you're probably hearing more news in the coming months. But we feel like, and I say we, this isn't Synovus, this is just general industry, you know, information. But we feel like that the contagion, I would say, is contained. There is no contagion. And so I say that based on these following reasons. I'd start by this. You know, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature had very different risk profiles, right? Customer base and deposit concentrations. And they operated in a different segment. So when you're looking around the room, this is what this bank deposit base and our customer base looks like. That's not the case with those banks. You know, when we talk about that, they operated in a very specific niche industry, both of them. One of them was in crypto. I know we've all heard of crypto. Some of us have, you know, maybe bought some or whatever, but to have a bank that's based on that. The other one, you know, was related to venture capital to fund tech startups. That's very high risk. You know, I'm a conservative guy, and most of the bankers that you know are conservative. So when you think about that, and then when you consider their deposit base or their customer base, it's not widespread, it's not diverse, you know. So again, you're looking at the customer base here in this room. And then I'd say the last thing would be deposit concentration. You know, you heard a lot about uninsured deposits. That's because, you know, some of their customers had $500 million in the bank and they're Roku or whatever. They're not individuals. So I'd start there. And then I think the other thing that I'd say is the second reason is that, you know, in our industry, this credit quality is about as high as it's ever been. You know, that's the truth. And so when you think about that, and you think about economic cycles, that's one of the first things you look at as an indicator. Then I would say, you know, and that's strong across the industry, as is liquidity. And then the other thing that I'd say is that, you know, as it relates to those failures, they've largely been resolved. You know, we've had other banks that have bought the deposits and some have bought some of the assets. So for the most part, and those are all been supported and authorized by the Fed or the regulators that are involved in that. So when you think about that, I just, you know, I don't want to speak for every bank, but when I think about Synovus, you know, we've had strong earnings year over year. We have a strong balance sheet with good capital and great liquidity, and, you know, we're positioned to weather not only this economic cycle, but future ones. And so I don't know that adds a lot. I can see the glaze coming over most of your eyes. But if in fact y'all want to talk about it or somebody has questions for me later, I'd be more than happy to address it. And next time I'm telling 2 jokes. Okay. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that timely update, Ron. I think faith in our financial institutions is critical for our economy and especially for our community and regional banks. Faith in those are the lifeblood of a small town like ours. And it's important to note that a capital crisis is different than a credit crisis like we saw in 2008. So thank you for those remarks. Now, I would like to I need to thank Mission Critical Comfort Solutions for sponsoring our weather for this series. And today's session is sponsored by our amazing partners at Central Georgia Technical College, the go-to resource for the workforce of today and tomorrow. Please help me welcome Jeff Scruggs, Executive Vice President of Central Georgia Technical College, to the stage.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ron John, thank you for the dad jokes. That gives me fodder to go take to my kids for the eye rolls. On behalf of Central Georgia Technical College, our president, Dr. Ivan Allen, our board, our foundation board members, our faculty, staff, and students, we want to say welcome. It's our honor and pleasure to support today's event. We have a number of team members in attendance today: Mike Pace, Mike Eagle, Andrea Griner, who'll be on the panel, Lakeitha Gordon and Andrew Hall, and Tanya Simmons-Lee in the back with your swag. And I want to just, on behalf of all of us, it's great to be here. I want to thank April and Angie Giesling. The Houston region has few more effective and dedicated, passionate cheerleaders than these two individuals. The chamber boards, the volunteers at the chamber, the Development Authority Board, that is a huge part of the success of Central Georgia and the Robbins region, and I just wanted to recognize each of them. At Central Georgia Technical College, and go ahead and feel free to glaze over, we have about a $59 million budget this year. $52 million of that is payroll. We have 565 full-time employees and a lot of adjunct instructors. You understand that, our friends from Middle Georgia State. And 243 of our full-time employees live right here in Houston County. We had a fall enrollment in our credit programs of just under 9,700 students. Last year, Central Georgia Technical College, your local associate degree granting institution, we touched over 33,000 individuals around the state. On any given day, we have faculty working, teaching and learning at 55 addresses around the state of Georgia. And we lead the state. We are the state of Georgia's largest associate degree granting two-year college in the state. And it's just something that you can all be proud of. This your little local technical college has that type of reach. We're here today to talk about workforce, and I'm not on the panel, but each of you plays a critical role in the pipeline of talent. You know, we talk a lot about pipelines and things like that. The success of our workforce depends on all of the relationships and the partnerships in this room. I want to recognize, you know, it takes our K-12 partners. We work with 12 school districts around the Central Georgia region, and one of our greatest partners, of course, perhaps our largest partner, is the Houston County District, and I want to thank you. Our higher education partners, led by Middle Georgia State, Fort Valley State, Georgia College, Mercer, Wesleyan, the Trinity School of Medicine. Without those partners, our students' options beyond our doors are limited. And so many business and industry partners right here in the Robbins region, too many to mention. Our friend Bob Hernman from the 21st Century Partnership is here today. And I want to hit a pause there, and I want to close with this. At Central Georgia Technical College, we like to say our mission is workforce development. But we don't look beyond. In fact, our greatest, deepest part of our mission is helping our fellow men and women in our community especially move closer to realizing their dreams and their full human potential. We use words like pipeline, and that's a little sanitary, but in that pipeline are humans, whether it's the 62-year-old who didn't get to finish high school, who comes to us for that GED, or it's the 11th grade student whose dream is to become a physician. They come to us, get that associate degree in general studies. They move on to Dr. Blake in Middle Georgia State, get that bachelor's in biology, and then they head on to medical school. Or that retired colonel who said, I always want to work in cybersecurity. So they come to us, get that associate degree, move on to Middle Georgia State, and get that bachelor's degree, and maybe on to their doctorate. Or it's our post-baccalaureate student who says, I always wanted to be a nurse. And so they come to us for that associate degree in nursing. Again, we have something for everybody that comes to us, regardless of where they are in life. And it is our intention and our mission to help them move closer to their dreams and their fullest human potential. That is what we do at Central Georgia Technical College. And we are very proud to be a part of this community. This is your community, this is our community, and we're going to see an example of that interconnectedness, that workforce biosphere. And we're just proud to be a part of it today. So thank you all.
That was wonderful. What a well thought out and explained mission. Thank you for that. Now for our program. Today's program dives into workforce trends and what steps are being taken now to stay ahead of current and future workforce challenges with some of the innovative programs and resources available to help you maximize the available talent pool today. Please help me welcome our moderator, Angie Giesling, Executive Director, Development Authority, Houston County, joined by Andrea Greiner, Vice President of Economic Development for Central Georgia Technical College, Dr. Christopher Blake, President of Middle Georgia State University, and Bob Herman, Executive Director, Middle Georgia STEM Alliance.
Good morning, everybody. As we all know, and you've heard me say, workforce development is a team sport. And really happy that I have my A-team group here with us today. They're always so generous in showing up for this program. As Jeff said, it's all of us in this room that has such a profound effect on workforce development. And I can cover from one end of this room to the other, you know, with our school system and our technical college and our universities, and then at the core, these folks in between who day in and day out are working tirelessly to bring better opportunities to folks, not just to help our companies, but really to help people see a way forward, see a better path, a better way of life. And this group, now these are the High Demand Career Initiative folks that we work with regionally, and if y'all, it's really these two tables right here, if y'all just stand up, just so I can get everybody to see who you are and give you a personal So one of the initiatives, and I talk about these from time to time when we're doing this program, but I want to update you on one. So through our WorkSource Georgia partners, we're able to take advantage of grant funding. And one initiative that we have been focused on is taking teachers and counselors into our industry to let them see firsthand what they do. I always tell people, you don't just walk up to Purdue Farms, where's Larry? You don't just walk up and say, hey, I want to come in and look around and see what y'all do here. So sometimes there's a lot of really wrong opinions about what goes on inside of our manufacturers. So we were geared up and ready to do this about 3 years ago, and you know what hit. So sometimes it's better, you know, a little time goes by and a better opportunity opens. And for us, it's been that we've been able to bring Sabrina Phelps into this process. And, you know, Sabrina was principal of our Career Academy, and now she's gone on to work through this WorkSource grant and develop these externships. And as economic developers, we were all kind of struggling, you know, how do we get in the school system? How awkward is it going to be? How much trouble is it going to be? What are we really asking too much to pull something like this off? And I know that Sabrina had all 11 counties lined up in 3 weeks, but that's when I knew you had it done. Just a remarkable feat, I can't tell you. And so tomorrow, I'm happy to report we've got over 80 teachers that are going to be in 10 different industries, getting a first-hand look and being able to go back and tell a really meaningful story to their students about the opportunities that we have here in Houston County. Can't overlook my board of directors. Y'all raise your hands. I got several here. I don't know where Scott is, but got several right here at the front with us. They just get it, y'all. They really do. And workforce development is a priority, and we talk about that every board meeting. But really today, I want to say thank you for supporting me on the regional front. You know, that y'all recognize that all my work is not just here in Houston County, and you're always so supportive of that. So just want to say thank you. So I got 3 great partners on the stage with me today. And just to point out one thing as we move along, we're going to keep this program STEM focused. And so a lot of that, you're going to hear that a lot in what they're going to respond to. And of course that overarching theme of partnerships, which we are so proud of. Dr. Blake, I'm going to start with you. So Middle Georgia State has made remarkable strides under your leadership, honestly. And personally, I want to thank you for shining a spotlight on the Warner Robins campus. So your partnership in the community is very evident, and we appreciate your investment. And just in the past 2 or 3 years, you've hit several milestones and brought several great programs online. But I want to start with the big news of Middle Georgia State University becoming a Level 5 institution and what that means. So tell us more about what that means for the university and for the community.
Well, certainly, and good morning. Thank you, Angie, for having us. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see familiar faces and friends again, and a delight to be here. And good morning to my colleagues as well, who are with us, all pulling on the same oar to move the boat forward and improve learning. And what Jeff said, the humans in the pipeline. I love that analogy that we talk about this pipeline, which is very engineering metaphor, but it's actually about people. We live in a knowledge economy. And it's quite evident that we need to be very creative and capable of adjusting how that knowledge is going to serve communities and businesses and the economy generally. And part of what Middle Georgia State has been aspiring to is to figure out how the knowledge economy is changing and be accredited to be able to help deliver on that promise. And so when you mention Level 5, what that means is that the accreditation at a national level, the authorization, the certification to be able to be a university that provides that kind of knowledge economy leadership has been awarded to the university. It means that now we can, and you heard this well in the introduction from Jeff, we can take the students who may be at different places and stages in that economy. We all think of college as the wonderful, traditional 18-year-old experience, and it is that, and it should be that, and I hope many of you in this room have experienced that for yourselves and your families. But in truth, higher education is also about different stages of learning and human development and what is needed for humans to be participating in the knowledge economy. And so being a Level 5 institution means we can do that from the very, very entry level of, even while at high school. Here in Warner Robins, we're going to be launching a very significant dual enrollment program around STEM. And that starts this fall. It's a really exciting new initiative. So we're looking at teenagers. We're looking at high school students and helping them be strong for the knowledge economy, but now we're also going right through to the doctoral level. So in 5 weeks, we graduate our first ever cohort of 40 graduates who will have a doctorate in information technology sciences. And we know from Middle Georgia State's record, they will stay in this area. They will not be, most of them, disappearing to other states or other countries. They will be staying in the region. So we see our role now as to be a large tent, a broad umbrella that can provide ways of accessing for students and get them into what I'm calling the knowledge economy, which the Wall Street Journal this week noted, and these kind of claims are sometimes a bit spurious, but it prompts us to think that in 20 years' time, 25% of all the jobs in America today can be done by AI. Now, I don't know if it's 25% or 15% or even 35%. What it's telling us is that knowledge is changing, that the human interaction with knowledge needs to be adaptable and flexible for that, and yet, 40 years ago, the digital revolution came along. We're still working. It's been around for 40 years. My career has been defined by, I would guess one day I'll be known as the email generation. We did email, that's how it began. But we're still working, and what we need to do is be adaptable to know what will work look like in 20 years' time, and how can we be ready. That's a long answer, and I apologize. I know we're on a time frame. Thank you.
Great answer, thank you. So this next question is for Andrea Greiner. A lot of you were probably at the program where the 21st Century Partnership brought in the partners that we now have with Georgia Tech to talk about the Georgia AIM grant Georgia. Artificial Intelligence and Manufacturing is what that stands for, and it's bringing over 64 million, something like that, some change, into Georgia, and we're very, very fortunate to be the recipient of some of that money serving as a sub-project. And so we've got the Middle Georgia Innovation Project being supported, the Living in Middle Georgia campaign, STEM Alliance, which Bob's going to talk to you about. But really excited about the money that's coming to the technical college system, and especially in us talking about STEM today, what's going to come through to Central Georgia Tech. And so just tell them what's going to happen in the Vector Center as a result.
Absolutely. Okay, I think you got this now? Okay, thanks. So it's good to be with everyone, and always great to see so many familiar faces in the audience. I think Jeff did a great job just recognizing just kind of the big picture of the work that we do and our workforce focus. You know, we really do have this broad vision of impacting communities and individuals throughout our region, and we understand that workforce development is the key to that. And that ties into all your businesses and organizations in terms of how we can support you. In terms of the project that we have at Vector, we are excited to be a part of that Georgia Tech grant. $65 million coming to the state of Georgia. Central Georgia Tech will receive right around $1 million to stand up a new AI-enhanced robotic manufacturing studio at the Georgia Vector Center. And hopefully most of you are familiar with the Vector Center, but that center is designed specifically to serve the entire state of Georgia and to support transitioning military members and their families as they're moving forward into their next career as they separate from the military. It also serves veterans, so really we have a wide population that is supported in that center through the variety of programs that are available. In this new studio, as I mentioned, it's AI, enhanced robotic manufacturing focused. We will be investing in predominantly FANUC robots and associated technology that we will be able to train individuals and really enhance their skill set so that they can support not only Robins Air Force Base, but also other manufacturers here in our region and then beyond. We know that Robins leads the Department of Defense in terms of implementation of robotics, and that is only going to grow. And so we're very excited to have this new program coming online. It's accelerated, so the individuals that will come to us and learn in this program will have 15 weeks on site with us, moving through this new training. Of course, the AI focus, they'll learn about programmable logic controllers, all things robotics. It really is going to enhance their skill sets and really make them a key employee in not only manufacturing but also serving Robins and others. So we're excited to have this new program come online. We expect to launch the first cohort in October, so we are already in motion in terms of retrofitting space at the Vector Center, and hopefully at some point in the future you can join us and take a look at it and see some of the new technology that's going to be invested right here in Middle Georgia.
Yeah, really excited to have this coming online. We had Jack Links here with us on Monday and Tuesday, and they spent a lot of time with Jeff and Andrea and Dr. Allen and the team. And what we learned, even though they are such a large company, they're going to automate this facility that they'll build in Perry more so than any other that they have online right now. And so I think to know that how attuned we are to responding to that and the type of workforce that they're going to need, and then to be able to offer that hands-on training to folks that are going to come in and literally in training inside of Central Georgia Technical College. That will start months before the company opens. So just imagine that benefit of they open the doors and these people walk in ready to work. So great stuff going on. We're excited about the lab. So back to talking about the Georgia AIM grant, very fortunate to have that. And for me, I think one of the big bonuses is that we were able to bring Bob Herman into the fold. You might know that he was with the software engineering group and helped so much with standing up Project Synergy. And we were really disappointed when we heard he was retiring, but yeah, I think within a week you were back on.
I wasn't disappointed.
Was it a week? And so through this grant, we've got Bob on the team and working with the 21st Century Partnership and really re-energizing. A lot of you are probably familiar with the Middle Georgia STEM Alliance, but this has offered an opportunity to reinvigorate that. So just talk to us a little bit about what your plan is for the Alliance and further developing a STEM workforce in Middle Georgia.
Certainly. First, thanks for allowing me to be a part of this. So there's a lot going on with the Georgia AIM grant. And first off, I've got to thank the community because a lot of what we're doing depends on the Houston County school systems, the Career Academy, Middle Georgia, Mercer. We're very lucky to have 5 colleges and universities in this Middle Georgia region, and to have them participate. I know Middle Georgia has bent over backwards on a lot of the initiatives that we're trying to do from STEM camps to dual enrollment, so thank you for that, Dr. Blake and your team. But overall, the first thing we really set up was a scholarship program at the 5 colleges and universities. So over the next 4 years, we're giving $400,000 in scholarships for Middle Georgia students to go to Middle Georgia colleges. And the reason behind that is to keep them in this area in our workforce. I've recruited a lot of people in the past, and when you bring them in from the overall Southeast, a lot of times they leave after 3-4 years. So when we started Project Synergy and the intern situation we did, the idea was to bring that Houston County talent, keep them here, get them into the workforce, get them internships, and keep them in this workforce. So that's the major thing. We're doing a 4-year effort on the scholarship side. We're participating in dual enrollment. I know Houston County Career Academy started our first one with Middle Georgia for computer science. We're trying to initiate that over in Peach County as well, and other areas in the Lebanon County area. The other things we're doing, and it's a challenge to get off the ground, is our boot camp and STEM camps. We had an initial pie night that was sponsored by Booz Allen that we did in last month. We did a Georgia College and State University did a Women in Technology Day in February. It's kind of hard to get students to participate after school and on Saturdays. I think we probably need the parents to be a part of that. The school system has been great in publicizing that. So Mercer is putting on a computer programming challenge April 15th. Dr. Choi and Macon at Mercer is doing an AI class for high school kids the 29th. May 13th, Middle Georgia is putting on a hackathon with the base. So there's a lot of efforts going on to bring STEM topics to high school kids. And that's the biggest challenge is really getting them enthused. The other side is we've got to get down to the lower levels. So the Georgia Department of Education starts STEM topics about the 3rd grade. We started a STEM program with the Museum of Aviation's National STEM Academy in partnership with Georgia Power. We have a robotics education system that's going to be a Teach the Teacher. We'll bring our teachers in from the 11 counties. They'll come in for a 2-day training class. They'll leave with a robotics kit to take back to their schools. So really getting those 3rd graders involved with that effort is key for us.
Thank you, Bob. I want to point out one thing that he said there, and he referenced, and we talked about this great program, the internship program, but also the program we had that's dual enrollment with computer science with Middle Georgia State. That was a customized pathway that was put together, listening to industry, talking to educators, and very quickly moved through the State Department of Education. So I just want to say thank you really to Dr. Scott and all the leadership for always being willing to let us try something first. So we tried it, it works well, and you heard what Bob said, now Peach County is picking up. So that's our goal, is that these things permeate out into our region and build out that workforce. So Dr. Blake, back to you. The university system has really kept their eye on the prize with the laser focus on STEM and preparing students for high demand jobs that are in our region. So tell us about the new program that you've rolled out.
We are very, very glad because of the expertise and dedication of my colleagues on these 2 tables that we've been able to look across our region and our 5 campuses and try to work hand in hand with the communities and the businesses there so that we're relevant. We live in a time, let's be candid about it. There is so much noise about, is higher education worth it? Is a degree something that is going to really help you in life? And it seems to me, while a college president can say, oh, sure it is, I have an inbuilt bias. But I think the evidence actually really is overwhelming. That back to your question about what does it mean to be level 5, to actually have the credentials of that workforce mindset, economic friendly thinking, to have the credentials is what we need in an ever-changing world. And I'm really glad that here in Warner Robins, we are able to look at this campus and think of some ways in which we can do it better. And we need to do it better because with 5 different campuses, we've been getting to kind of an understanding over some time. And I'm thrilled that we've reached, if you like, the launch point where I believe the vision for the Warner Robins community, for the county as a whole, and for how in this part of Middle Georgia we can work is going to be very vibrant. So we had the Board of Regents approve 2 new degrees at the associate's and bachelor's level in computer science. That augments what we've been doing in information technology, including software development and cybersecurity. We launched those in person this fall, as well as our STEM-related dual enrollment program. So what we want to do is make sure that we give that access, not just to the 18-year-olds, but to the 28-year-olds and 38-year-olds and so on, who would like to get into a field where there is an overwhelming need for jobs, where that talent is still something that we could never ever say, well, we've finished the pipeline, we don't need any more. And so because of that vision, we're looking to be able to make sure we build a STEM-related computer science focus at the associate's and bachelor's level, and then they can go on and do that doctoral degree as well for those who would really like to go on and be leadership. We're also going to introduce this fall face-to-face classes in leadership, in professional leadership in those STEM-related fields, because it won't be only AI that makes the decisions, it's also going to need the human economy to take that leadership, and we want to be at the solution of that piece as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Andrea, back to you. Talk a little bit about the STEM-related programs that you have aligned with the high-demand careers that are available at Central Georgia Tech.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned the High Demand Career Initiative earlier in some of your initial remarks. And as a state as a whole, we recognize that there are specific careers and really industries that have a high demand in terms of their needs for workforce. I will point out Central Georgia Tech, we actually, in the technical college system as a whole, has a program that's called the Hope Career Grant Program. And aligning to those high demand careers, we have programs of study that are available to our students for tuition free. So there are 18 different programs of study, and several of those are STEM related, I would say. When I think of STEM, I think of programs like engineering technology, healthcare programs, our health sciences programs, aviation programs, aerospace programs, and others that really drive home that need for technology and the understanding there. In terms of our engineering technology program, some of the new developments that we've seen over the past few years, our engineering technology program is led by a former industry leader, and he has worked very proactively to create internship opportunities. And I think that that's key, having that opportunity and that relationship with our businesses that we're serving, and giving those students those opportunities to have real life experiences while they're still working on their technical certificates or diplomas or degrees. In terms of aerospace programs, I know you're familiar with our what oftentimes is called Robins North. So it's a partnership with Robins Air Force Base. Several years back, we consolidated our aerospace programs into that central location so that we would have the opportunity to create a broader pipeline for our students and create that growth opportunity to serve that industry and others. In terms of health sciences, we have seen a tremendous demand for nurses, as you can imagine, and we have strong partnerships with Houston Healthcare and appreciate that. But for example, our nursing program, our RN program here in Warner Robins, we have over 200 applicants for 40 slots annually. And so we have added a program in Milledgeville, a nursing and RN program in Milledgeville. And then we've also, are working toward a bridge program on the Macon campus. So we're very proactive in terms of addressing these programs of study and creating that wider pipeline so that we can support our industry needs and meet those needs that are STEM related and that are in these high demand career areas. A couple of other things that I just wanted to mention. We talk about the relationship with business. Every single one of our programs are focused on and aligned with the needs of the business and industry that we serve. So when we think about high demand, when we think about these STEM careers and these STEM opportunities, we know that we are working proactively to meet those needs. I'll also mention that every one of our programs of study, these that I've mentioned that I would consider STEM related, and the many others that we have available to our students, each one of them has an advisory committee, so we're staying in tune and engaged with our industry partners to understand what is the cutting edge equipment that we need to have on hand. Where do we need to be investing in our labs so that we can ensure that our students are utilizing the technology that they're going to see in the field, and that our curriculum is aligned to that as well. So those are a few STEM related programs that I wanted to mention that specifically align to those high demand careers.
Another area that you don't, we talk about traditional manufacturing a lot in our world, but another area you don't think about that we have focused on regionally is healthcare, and how important that is, particularly in our region. And at our systems board meeting last night, we were able to see how the introduction of the Da Vinci robot specifically, how bringing that into the operating room with our surgeons, and the productivity is astounding. And so technology is everywhere, and we continue to focus on all of our industry. So Bob, we've talked a lot about the programs that are available to kind of the adult population or the older high school student. And I know we're trying so hard just to grab those that are right off the top and then get them directly into the pipeline. And I think for some of us, our concern has been, oh, wait a minute, we need to be paying attention to those young ones when they're really impressionable. And I see that Heather Whitby is with us, and so that's another university partner with Fort Valley State University, and very excited when they received their Chevron grant to stand up a Fab Lab on the Warner Robins campus. That will be focused on our young people. So just talk a little bit about where you're able now to really hone in and focus on STEM education in elementary and middle schools.
So first, I have a 6-year-old granddaughter, and it was just wonderful. She came from school one day and said, I went to STEM lab. I said, so what did you do in STEM lab? She said, I don't know. So that's okay. At least she went to STEM lab, and at some point maybe she'll be interested in STEM. I think she turned on a light with some electronic circuits the other day, so there's progress there. But if you look at the makeup of the schools that we graduate from in the STEM side of things, when I went to school, the makeup was not the makeup of the country we have today. So young ladies are being turned off from STEM early. Underserved communities are being turned off from STEM. So to get to this 3rd grade level and have everyone in this 11 county area have access to those STEM resources has got to be our goal to correct this issue we have today. So a lot of times teaching STEM in the lower levels, I understand teachers are a little hesitant, they don't have the background. We have a great partnership with Robins Air Force Base to provide mentors to these schools to help them through those. Working with the National STEM Academy, they're going to give you the curriculum to teach those topics, give you the tools, give you the resources. So we really have to focus on that 3rd grade through 8th grade. We obviously have the first LEGO leagues and the first tech challenges that are happening in a lot of the schools. But it's really critical that we get out to the entire 11 counties. I looked at the data. I think that Melissa Spalding from the museum gave me 84% of the schools in Middle Georgia are Title I. And the ones that are not Title I are in Houston County. So if you look at the demographics, there's a lot of underserved areas in the area that we really have to get to. So I'm hoping this program with the museum will be a huge success. Contributions from Georgia Power certainly helped make it bigger and better. So thank you, Scott, and your team for that. But again, I think the base has provided resources for the robotic side, and so forth. We also have partners in the community. Booz Allen's providing some help, Tionic is providing some help, so thank you there. So it's gonna be a community effort to really get, those opportunities available to all ages, all levels, all demographics. So that's where we need the help.
And all of you who have a business, or access, to funding, for organizations, you're open to additional funds.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
keep that in mind. So Dr. Blake, I appreciate your interest in the Middle Georgia Innovation Project. From the inception, you have allowed your people, to be involved with us, even when it was just kind of an idea, that we were going somewhere, and Dr. Kuhang in particular, and Ember Bentley, they've just been great partners to us, so we appreciate the time, that you've allowed them, to work on this. And so, during all of this, you know, you quickly had the idea that you all could contribute. We were looking at the innovation centers and access to innovation around the region, so you quickly stood up the MGA Center for Software Innovation, and now I guess we'll be announcing the new name. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We have an exciting announcement, and we have an expression in England. You may have figured out I came from there originally. You know, never waste a crisis. Never waste a crisis. And we had a crisis on Christmas Eve. Our wonderful facilities staff found that one of our entire buildings with the Centre for Software Innovation, the fire suppression system had burst in that unusually cold night that we all remember. And so we have a building that was flooded. And so we instead of lamenting that and thinking, oh dear, we thought, how can we take that forward rather than just backward? So what we're proud to announce, not in the building that is still being renovated, but we've decided to combine the Centre for Software Innovation with innovation and entrepreneurship. And next week, we launch our Centre for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, back to that, what I called earlier, the knowledge economy. That may sound old and boring, but actually it's terribly futuristic. And we're going to be, actually we have our experts who, if you've got questions about joining it next week, we can help answer that, because what we want to do is offer to small businesses and emergent businesses, we want to offer the skills and the partnership to help them problem solve all of the red tape issues, the strategic planning issues, the business thinking, because our vision is a university must never be behind a wall or in an ivory tower. It has to be a bridge into the community. And so the misfortune of a flooded Christmas Eve has actually given birth to a new way of understanding what we can do even more strongly. On April the 4th, we launch our Centre for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. It's designed for the community. It's for anyone who wants help in their business being set up, developed, and helped to grow. And that's a way I think that while you're kind about my wonderful colleagues, but they have heard me say that is our job. Our job is to be, yes, giving those credentials to students so they have degrees, but also to make sure those degrees count in the community. And nothing better than if you find people who've had connections to Middle Georgia State and who are now working, whether it's in nursing or business or teaching, and then helping them now. That's what we want. We want to be part of a lifelong learning cycle in which the knowledge economy can be helped. Next week, we launch something. We need your help with it. If nobody comes, it's not really much of a centre, is it? So please come and find out, and we will do some information sharing with you and publicity with you about how it's going to work. And it's an exciting way in which we took that crisis and thought, let's not waste it, let's use it.
Thank you for that. So, there are a lot of things that some of us in the room know about that go on. And one thing I'm so proud of is the way that our universities and colleges have reached, and our high school systems have reached into each other and not stayed in the ivory tower. So, Andrea, I'm going to let you speak just for a minute about how CGTC has really worked on that ease of access to articulation agreements with other colleges. Let's know how that comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep hearing that term pipeline, and just really that big picture of how we're impacting individuals. And we've touched on just this opportunity that's available to high school students, and really thinking about where does that go lifelong in terms of the opportunities that they have ahead of them. Our college, Central Georgia Tech, leads the entire state of Georgia in terms of the opportunities that we make available for dual enrollment students. So for those students that are still at the high school level and they want to begin thinking about their future and college and their career opportunities, they are able to engage with our college. And again, we lead the state, so serving over 4,000 students annually, and we've just seen that trend just grow and grow and grow. And I think it definitely ties back to the different opportunities that we have available, not only on the occupational side, so some of the different programs of study that I've already previously mentioned, but also for those degree-seeking students. So that's one thing that I just wanted to point out. I would say thank you again to the Houston County School System and just the vision there and forward thinking in terms of making really the availability to your school students. That power of 15, or what I've heard is power of 18 now, really wanting to ensure that every high school student has that opportunity to earn, those college credits before they leave the high school doors. And that is free. That's 100% free. And I can speak from experience, having kids in college, to know that they can really have a whole year behind them or under their belt before they move forward. It's just such a huge opportunity. Our college also is partnering with career academies throughout our region. So in terms of reaching those high school students, we already have 5 college and career academies in place here in the region, and I have the opportunity, as well as Angie, to serve on the Houston College and Career Academy Board, and that's critical work and creates so much accessibility to high school students in a variety of programs. But we also have 2 new career academies that were awarded funds to launch in the future, and so we will see, we will actually have the largest number of college and career academies from all the technical colleges in the state of Georgia. So that accessibility on the front end, I think, is key, but also in terms of articulation agreements, those partnerships that we have with the universities in the state really creates that pathway forward. So not only can students engage with us, earn technical certificates of credit or diploma or their associate's degree, but they know they have a path forward. And I did jot a few notes down, and I'll have to refer to these, but just looking at some of the different partnerships that we have in place, and again, thinking back to that STEM focus, I'll name just a few. So with Fort Valley State University, our students that are with us at the technical college can move forward through our engineering technology program and then earn a bachelor's degree in engineering technology through Fort Valley. Biotechnology is another area of study where they can move forward. At Georgia Southwestern, computer information systems to the Bachelor of Science in IT. They have an RN to a BSN agreement. With Kennesaw State, we see students moving forward to earn a bachelor's degree in computer information technology. Also, our engineering technology program students can move forward. Mercer, we have articulation agreements in computer information systems. Middle Georgia State, computer information technology, and then also the RN to BSN. And then broadly, with the entire university system of Georgia, we have a broad core transfer agreement. So students that come to us, there's 27 courses that are guaranteed transfer into the university system of Georgia. So in terms of having that pathway forward, being able to engage with these students at the high school level and then create that opportunity going forward, as I mentioned, some of these with the STEM focus, we really have that opportunity for them to engage and really have a bright future ahead of them. So we're so excited about that work. And when I put on my kind of economic development hat and I think about the work that we do collectively, whether it's on the recruitment side of the house or supporting industries as they're working to expand or attract their workforce, this is critical. When we talk to industries, we always want to paint that picture of the pipeline. They want the assurance. Businesses want to know that the work that we're doing collectively in higher education and in the K-12 system is going to meet those future needs. And I think that we're doing a great job here in Middle Georgia, and it's always exciting for us to be able to brag about the programs and the opportunities that we have in place.
So, Bob, you spent a lot of time all over this country really trying to recruit folks to come in and work when you were with Robins Air Force Base and So based on that experience and kind of looking at your new role, wonder what challenges do you see in recruiting and more importantly, even retaining a STEM workforce in Middle Georgia? So we've got a couple of minutes left here, if you kind of expound on that. But this is a good question to end with, because what I want you to tell the folks in the audience is, what can the community do to improve the process?
So, as a part of my previous job, we recruited at 30+ schools throughout the Southeast. And it's easy to bring people in with money, incentives, and so forth. The challenge is 3-4 years down the road, how do we keep them? So typically they start a family and they tend to go back home to their parents because of that support structure. So I think the community effort here is critical, that they don't run to Atlanta every weekend for the things they want to do. I love to go to Atlanta for a concert or ball game, but I don't want to fight that traffic every day. So I think the efforts we have going on in Perry and Warner Robins with the downtown community, with Centerville, I think those things are critical. We have a lot of students interested in the Macon nightlife up there, where you can live in the lofts and do that. And I think those things are critical in this area as well. So, I used to say this may be inappropriate, but I thought about creating a dating app, because as soon as they got married and they got their kids into the school system, they wouldn't leave. But that's different for a 22-year-old than a 32-year-old. So I think we got to look at the community efforts to bring those type of things there. And I think the Middle Georgia Innovation Project in the Living in Middle Georgia campaign is critical to that. I can recruit for a STEM background, but I have a hard time selling Middle Georgia, because I have a very different perspective as a older fellow than I do as a 22-year-old. I'm not interested in the same things as a 22-year-old. So I think that's key, that this Middle Georgia Innovation Project, Living in Middle Georgia, is another tool we can use to highlight the things that we're 2 hours from the beach, 3 hours from the mountains, an hour and a half from Atlanta. Those are all good things. But I don't wait in traffic. So there's a lot of good things we have to sell, and I think the community efforts to do that are a start. But we have to sell it to those incoming workers that we have, to keep them. But it's even more critical to keep the workers we have here, homegrown, that know what they're getting into, that know what this community offers, to stay here and not run off to the big cities and so forth. So,
thank you, Bob. Thank y'all, the three of you, for being such great partners and for being here with us today. And thank all of you for being here and being so interested and so attuned to this subject. And I know April wants to come up and close us out, right? And but I want to brag on the chamber for a minute. She's going to talk about the job fair. I don't want to steal thunder on that. But if you have a chance, you should just come by here and see. It is something to behold, what they have perfected this process, and the numbers of people and the quality of the people that are showing up for these job fairs. It is really something to see. So I encourage y'all to drop by and participate as a business if you aren't already.
Absolutely. Y'all join me in thanking our panel one more time. Well, thank you, Angie, for those remarks. Thank you to our panel for such an insightful discussion on the innovative programs that are already available to employers and job seekers here in our community, building that pipeline for the workers of tomorrow, which might be just a few weeks or months down the road, depending on the degree program or certificate, or those programs in the future that our children and grandchildren will have the opportunity to participate in. It really is exciting to see how we're addressing workforce holistically. So it's no accident that today starts with a workforce breakfast, and then at 2:30 this afternoon, we're gonna be right down this hallway in the corridor with 35 local organizations, from very small businesses to our large industry partners, our education institutions, and our healthcare system and others, looking to fill jobs that are available today. If you're on Facebook, we've got a Facebook event on our page, in our group Robins Works and Robins to Go. We would love for you to get on and just share that event and encourage people to come out. As Angie mentioned, we've been very fortunate and somehow, knock on wood, cracked the code in engagement, but planning for an event like this, you guys register. Most of you before 24 hours ahead of time. We'd still love for you to register earlier, but we know how to plan. We know who is coming. These job fairs are open to the public. The employers register, but the job seekers just show up, and we're very grateful that they have continued to show up in the hundreds. Our very first one, we had over 500 job seekers, then 900 job seekers, then it rained, and we still had over 400 at the last one. And as Angie mentioned, not only the quantity, but the quality of the job seekers has really been a great match for those employers who've come out. But we would love for you to come by and check that out. And while we know you guys aren't actively looking for employment opportunities, somebody in your sphere of influence might be. And the career of their future might be down this hall, and we would love for you to help us spread the word about that. As you exit today, if you will take off those name tags and just leave them on your table, you can exchange those for your mints. That's a great little reminder. And then our friends at Central Georgia Technical College, our sponsor for today's program, are over in the corner, and I believe they have some additional swag, Jeff. And would love the opportunity to talk to you. And then we're going to be right back here on April the 20th with Mayor Patrick. I haven't seen her this morning, but you know, she was brand new in her role last year when she came, and so I'm excited to hear about a year under her belt. And if you guys have tuned into anything the city's got going on, there's some exciting things happening in our city and our community, and we would love to share those with you. And then as Ron mentioned, we are bringing back the Robbins Regional Economic Outlook as part of an Outlook series that Parish is sponsoring for us this year, and that's going to be on May the 17th right here in the Kerry Martin Conference Center. And we would love for you to come and learn about those economic drivers that are impacting our community and your businesses each and every day. Y'all go out and make it a good one, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys.
That was fantastic. Absolutely, I appreciate it, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, you did a great job. Thank God.